Hello, everyone. How are you guys doing? Okay, I'm going to start noting who's logged in real quick. Let's see. Okay, so I see Avery, Emily Nelson. Okay, Samuel, I have you. Jenna. Okay. Okay, just give me 1 second to get everyone documented here real quick. Okay, so far I have Jenna, Megan, Aaron, Saida, Samuel, Cheyenne. Let's see who else do I have? Avery, Kelly, Emily, and Aaron. I think so. All right. 5. Okay, so how's everyone doing? Thumbs up? Going good? All right, excellent. Okay, well, I wanted to do the Zoom sessions mainly to just make sure we're all on the same page, clarify any confusion, and answer questions. So I wanted to start just with a quick review of the course syllabus, ask if there are any questions about the course syllabus or anything we've done so far. No questions? All right, that's good. Okay, if I can have you, I don't know, I'm gonna see if I can, don't think I can split the screen. Let's see. I'm gonna just really quickly remind you of a couple of things. I thought I'd be able to share the screen and have you see the computer, but it doesn't look like it's gonna let me do that. So I'm just going to talk you through what it was. So first of all, I know a lot of you had signed up for the chat or for the pages tab with our social cultural strategies presentation groups. So those are now complete. If you haven't had a chance, please go back and make sure you double check. If you signed up, I left you in the group you signed up for, but there were a few people who weren't signed up, so I put them in a group. So please make sure to check that. Our first group that's going to be presenting is the race ethnicity group, and that'll be Samuel Park, Sally Lopez, and Shannon Block. So for those 3 people, I'm going to probably try and do a follow-up Zoom session with you just to make sure that you're clear on what all the expectations are, but I'll talk through them in general again tonight to give you an overview and get you ready for that. And then for the rest of the groups, they just follow after that. You'll see there's a specific order that you signed up in. That's the order that the presentations will come. If you look at the course schedule, you'll see exact due dates for everything. Our first group, I have good news and bad news for you, my race ethnicity group. The good news is you'll be done with this in 2 weeks. The bad news is you have to do it in the next 2 weeks. So you have a little bit of pressure, but you'll start us off on a great track, I'm sure. So we'll come back to that and kind of talk through what's required in those cultural strategies presentations here in just a minute. But I wanted to thank all of you guys for submitting your origin flip grids. I think I have all but 2, so make sure it's there. I did have someone follow up with me today to make sure I had it, and I did. But I will go ahead and start watching those and giving feedback. I think what I'd like you to do as well, if you would go and, like, say for my race ethnicity group, Samuel, Sally, and Shannon block, if you'll go and watch each other's Flipgrid so you get a sense of who people are and get to know who's in your group, I think that'd be really helpful. So make sure to do that. I'm going to see if there's a way I can also put your identity webs in a central location so that you can see each other's identity webs and just start to get to know each other a little bit better. And that way, when you're working together on this project, it'll make a little bit more sense. Lauren, long time no see. Glad you made it. Laura and I had a 4:30 to 7 o'clock class tonight, so I actually just saw her.
Like an hour.
Yeah, an hour ago. All right, and then I see we have a couple more people join us. That's great. All right, so with the origin Flipgrids, you've got those turned in. And then the identity webs, hopefully those are all turned in too. I haven't had a chance to check the assignment tab to make sure they're all in, but both those assignments were due Monday. So if you haven't had a chance to get the origin Flipgrid or the identity web in, make sure you get those in. I'll go ahead and start, like I said, start watching those and looking over the Flipgrids, the identity webs, and giving you guys your feedback. I did enter the score for our first video chat, so you already have grades in. Any questions on any of that information before we move on? Okay, you guys are very quiet tonight. All right, let's keep going then. So I want to talk about some of the upcoming assignments and make sure we're clear on what is expected. So as I looked into, as we look at this week, the main thing that you have due is the culture responsive teaching sociocultural context discussion board. A lot of words, but basically it's your first discussion board. If you went into the assignments tab, you saw the directions for that. But to actually complete the assignment, you have to go into the discussions tab. And I see several of you have already done that, so good job. But if you go into the discussions tab, you'll see the link for the socioculturally responsive teaching, or CRT, discussion board. If you click on that, you'll see the example there. I put an article, and then my summary of the article, and then some critical reflection questions. According to the assignment tab where the directions are, all you have to do is go in, look at the article, kind of you can review my summary for what I pulled out of it, and then you pick one of the questions to answer. I have quite a few people who have completed that already. You only have to have 150 words. I see that some people have done a little more, which is great. The one thing I really want to emphasize with these assignments for the culture responsive teaching discussion board, and then the ones that come after, when you're answering the critical reflection question you pick, make sure you're referencing information from the article to support your response. So like the first critical question I had was, can teachers really know all the cultural backgrounds of their students? And how will you get to know your students' cultural backgrounds? Well, don't just say, nah, that's impossible. Like talk about why we can or cannot do that, and then reference the article. Like what does the article say about that? And there are some tips within the article that actually give you ideas for doing that. So again, just when you respond to the critical question you pick, make sure you support it with the article that is linked to those questions. Make sense? Okay, so what I've done in this first one is modeled for you how it will work. The next discussion board you'll have, the race discussion board will be posted by the 3rd of February, so next week, and then it'll be due by the 7th. I've tried to make everything consistent, so they're posted on the same day, due the same day. It's like they're all posted on Mondays for you guys and due on Fridays. With these discussion boards, you are going to take them over those. So the race group, who is Samuel, Sally, and I forgot who my last person was in there. But for the three of you, you're going to pick the articles that students will respond to. So Samuel, Sally, and Shannon. So I will, with each group, I'll either email you or I'll try and do a follow-up Zoom session before you have to post those discussion board articles, just to make sure you're clear. but you can pick the article that you want to post as long as it relates to that topic and education, or I can give you some ideas of articles to post. The key with the discussion boards is I really want you guys to take ownership of those discussion boards and find articles that you think are powerful, meaningful, and will get your peers thinking about the topics. So when it comes to race and ethnicity, like if Samuel or Sally or Shannon have an article, they're like, wow, I saw this really good article, I want to post that. You can definitely scan and post it or just pull it off of the library. Wherever you get it, that is fine. Just make sure that it is like an actual kind of research article. The one I gave you is an example of that. You don't want to put like a one-page like book review in there. It has to be an actual article, something that will get students to think. It doesn't have to come from like a super research-based journal, but it still has to like have some theory or research or something to support the content of the article. It shouldn't just be like a newspaper opinion piece. Does that make sense? Okay. Any questions about that?
My question is, like, with the whole article thing, if you're going online, like, is .com okay?
Yeah, that would be fine. Just make sure that you can copy and paste a link in there for your peers to look at.
Okay.
Yeah. Just make sure it's not like something from Wikipedia, because, that's not really a valid source. So it just has to be something that's research-based.
Okay.
Yeah. And if you have a question about, like, is this an appropriate article, you can always shoot me an email with the link and I can say yes or no. And then if you're really struggling to find articles, just let me know. I have some that are good starting points for you guys and would be good to lead off a discussion for the group. But again, this is kind of like your chance to really challenge each other and find articles that are going to give you more depth and things that you really want to focus on. I know in this class, a lot of times we look for recipes, like, okay, if I'm dealing with CLD students, this is everything I need to know. But as Lauren can tell you, there are 5 classes for ESL that don't cover nearly everything you need to know for CLD. So it's not like in a week we can give you all the information or a recipe card that will work for every student. It's really just about finding as much information as possible, learning, opening our eyes, increasing our awareness, and then being able to use that information in our future classrooms. I would love to give you guys a book that says, here's everything you need to know, but every student, every class is going to be different. So there's not like a magic formula. But I think we'll be able to find lots of ways we can grow and learn together. And these articles are one way I think that will really help you. The other reason I wanted to do the discussion boards and have you guys lead those is that would help us jump into the cultural strategy group presentations. So when you look, if you go to that tab, assignment tab for the cultural strategies group presentations, you'll see that it describes, there are 3 parts to those presentations. So the first part is kind of summarizing what it is you took away from your article. You've already done that in discussion board, but here's where you're elaborating on that. And the way you elaborate is say, okay, 5 peers responded to my discussion board. Here's some of the key things they talked about. So you're just kind of reiterating what was shared in the introduction to your cultural strategies presentation. Each person will do that for their article. So like for the race ethnicity group, Sally will do that, Samuel will do that, and why do I keep blanking on who's the other? Shannon will do that. In order to make this as cohesive a presentation as possible, I tried to find an online tool where people could contribute at the same time. And I know Google Docs does that, but you can't hear people necessarily unless you put in a voice recording. So I thought VoiceThread would be a great way to do that, because you can put in a presentation, you can audio record your voice on the slide, you can underline things, circle things, highlight things as you're sharing. So each person in the group can start off the presentation with the one voice thread, and like we can hear Samuel talk about his article, then we can hear Sally talk about her article, then we can hear Shannon talk about her article. And then from there, you go into the lesson plans, which is the second part of the presentation. So again, trying to make it as cohesive as possible and as meaningful as possible, I wanted us to come up with lesson plans that would link to what you're doing in your literacy course. So for your literacy class, you have to do diverse text sets. I'm not sure if Dr. Parath or Dr. Levine have really explained what those are in detail yet, but basically you're going to pick one book from 10 different themes. And those 10 themes, ta-da, they align with the 10 themes in this class. So like you'll be able to pick a children's book that's about race and ethnicity. You can pick a children's book about LGBTQ. You can pick a children's book about religion. So you'll pick 4 books for them, but for this class, you're just going to pick, based on your group, you're going to pick one children's book that reflects that topic. So Sally, Samuel, and Shannon will pick a book about race and ethnicity that you could read to children. And then they're going to create a lesson plan for that book. We'll have a central location where all those lesson plans, I'll have them make a Google Doc, and you'll put your lesson plan in the Google Doc, and then the next person will attach their lesson plan and the next person. So we'll have all 3 or 4 lesson plans for the topic in one Google Doc, and you'll have at the end of the semester something like 36 different lesson plans you can take with you and use in your classroom based on different children's books. So I think it'll be a valuable resource. Not only does it build on what we do in literacy, it'll take it one step further and give you this great library of resources you can use. So I know the first text set for Dr. Parath and Levine isn't due until I think maybe the end of February, first part of March. So the first few groups will actually pick their books before doing the text set, but whatever book you use for the lesson plan for this class, you can automatically use for the text set in Parath and Levine's class. So they should marry really well, even if you have to do one sooner than the other. Does that make sense to everyone? Okay, and then the last part of the cultural strategies presentation will be, I thought the best way to do this might be like a Canva or S'more poster kind of thing, where you have your group your topic at the top, so like race, ethnicity is their first topic, and then you'll have just like some general tips and things that teachers should be aware of or strategies they can implement in the classroom when working with that population. So I think I said 15 tips or strategies. So like each person can contribute 4 or 5 to the poster and just make them, again, give us the link for that. And that way we can have also kind of like a cheat sheet. It won't have everything you do with that population, but it'll give you some good starting points and things to think about when working with that population. So it sounds like a lot. There's 3 parts to that cultural strategies presentation. But I think what you'll get out of it, you'll find everything has a purpose and will be very useful. They all link together. So does that make sense? Any questions about that?
I have a question. So each person, like in each group, has their own article and makes their own lesson plan, but we all do the the Canva poster thing together?
Yes. But you'll put everything together in one voice thread. So even though you individually do your lesson plans, you'll have like a Google Doc that you contribute the lesson plans to, and then put the link for the Google Doc in the voice thread. And the same thing with the poster, you'll all contribute to the poster. They'll just put one link for that poster in the voice thread. So the main thing will be the voice thread where everything goes. But we're going to use a couple of different tools to do that. Number 1 is the voice thread, then the Google Slides for the lesson plans, or Google Docs for lesson plans, and then the Canva or S'more poster for the strategies. But all the links for everything will go into the voice thread. Okay. Has anyone used voice thread before? Okay, I see.
I have once, but I don't really remember it.
Okay. All right. It's pretty easy. I think you'll find it. Cheyenne, you said you'd used it before? Okay. It's pretty user-friendly. You can actually, if you're more comfortable, like create your presentation in PowerPoint or like your slide in PowerPoint and then just upload it into VoiceThread, if that makes you more comfortable. Or you can actually just type into VoiceThread like a slide from PowerPoint and then just add the audio to it. So either way is fine. Yeah, and then the one thing I really like about VoiceThread, if you do put in links, they should, depending on how you do, like some YouTube links I think will actually like go to the actual YouTube embed, like the YouTube clip right there. Not that you're necessarily going to have to do that for this assignment, but it's pretty user-friendly and has some nice features that I think you'll like. What I will try and do is do a sample book for you guys by next week so you can see how the voice thread would work. And I'll do kind of like a mock, here's the parts and here's what it would look like. So you'll have a completed voice thread to look at as a sample for the groups working on these. Will that be helpful? Okay. So I'm gonna make myself a note or I will forget. I was working with someone late tonight. Actually, Lauren, you know Karen from class, I was asking her to do something. And she's like, okay, let me make myself a note because I'm Dory. I'll forget if I don't write it down. And I think I'm Dory too because I will forget as well. So let me make a sample voice thread. Okay, any other questions? Okay, so let's see. So that kind of overviews the cultural strategies presentations, how they'll work. Like I said, Samuel, your group is going to be up first, but let's look at like when due dates are for that. So for the articles, Samuel, your group, each of you will need to post your articles by next Monday, the 3rd of February. So start looking for articles now. If you don't have one, I can definitely send you some article links to look at. And then you'll monitor, oh, that's the one piece I forgot. So like Samuel's group, Samuel, Sally, and Ruth, can you? Samuel, Sally, and Shannon, you will post your articles. Sorry, my daughter's yelling at the dog. You'll post your articles and then you'll watch the people's responses. Like you'll see on the one that we did this week, people are responding already. And your task will be to go in and look at what people write. And then for at least 2 people, you have to make a comment back to them. Like, wow, I really think you made a great point about this. I agree, whatever. So you're just going to make a comment back to them. And that comment will also kind of help you decide what you want to put in your cultural strategies presentation or overview. So the only thing I see as being potentially problematic is that if we do this, sorry, the dogs want out. When we do this, say for the race ethnicity one, Samuel, Sally, and Shannon will be posting an article. If everyone reads Samuel's article and no one reads Sally or Shannon's article, they're not going to have any way to respond back to a person. So just kind of watch that when you're responding to the articles. If like a whole bunch of people have already responded to one, pick a different one to respond to. So that way we kind of balance them out and each person that posted an article can have someone to respond to. Okay. And we'll kind of do a trial run at this with our first group, see how that works. If I need to assign people to respond to specific articles, we can, but I really don't want to have to do that. You guys are adult, independent learners. I'm pretty sure you can figure out, oh, no one responded to Samuel's article. I'm going to respond to that. So just kind of monitor that. And then the reason I have them do the responses due by Friday is so that the groups who are having to come up with strategies presentations have Saturday, Sunday, and Monday to work on those. Because if we didn't have them due until the Monday, the group trying to come up with their presentation wouldn't have anything to work with. So that's why they post on Monday, are due by Friday, and then the group, if you posted that week, the next week is when you'll submit your cultural strategies presentation. Okay? Questions on that? Okay. So really for this week, the only thing you have to do is the culturally responsive teaching discussion board. And then there's an identity poem that you'll do as well. The identity poem isn't due until next Monday. But if you go into the week 2 course module, I just want to clarify, under the week 2, it says, I am from poem template. That's the identity poem. I'm going to actually edit that right now and put identity poem in front of it, just so that I don't confuse people. But that's the template you'll use for your identity poem. Probably the easiest way to complete that assignment is to just print it out and then fill it in and then retype it to submit the completed one. these identity poems that actually came from a person called George Ella Lyons. And it's a great way to get to know more about your background. Unlike the identity webs where you could put whatever you wanted on there, these identity poems like give you specific prompts, things to write in. And when it's done, it's pretty cool. I shared my identity poem with you in the first video. You'll create something similar based on the prompts you complete and submit that identity poem. So that, again, it's another way to look at your own background, your own identity, and kind of maybe get a lens on who you are in a different way than what you might normally have done. Has anyone done an identity poem before? Yeah?
I just did this one. Like, I've already done the one for this class.
Okay, what'd you think of it?
It's a little difficult with, like, specific things.
Yeah, you have to think, because there are certain things where it's like, ask like a common household item, right? You're like, what in the heck is that? So yeah, you have to think about, well, what's around your house all the time? So yeah, there are some very specific prompts in there, but once it's all together, I think you would really like it. One thing that teachers have done with this is they actually have the students fill it out, make their identity poem, and then they have like a parent or another family member make their identity poem and kind of like they read them at the same time. So one person will read one line, the next person reads a line. So you kind of hear from two voices of the family what their identity poems are all about, what's important to them. Kind of a neat way to interpret the identity poems and get another perspective on it. So lots you can do with it, but I hope you guys like doing it to find out a little bit more about who you are and some of the things that make you unique. So
Mine might be a little depressing.
Yours is depressing? Oh no, that's not good. All right, well, I'll be interested to read it and see what it looks like. I'm also going to make a note here to put try and get the identity webs into, I think what I might do is post the identity webs in the discussion boards so that if your group is leading that discussion board, you can see the identity webs of the people leading it. So Samuel, Sally, and Shannon, I'll put a picture of your identity webs into your discussion board so people can know who you are when they go in and look at your articles. And I think that'd be a good way to kind of get everyone, again, getting to know each other. I'm going to write that, identity webs and discussion boards. Ruth, can you please get them to stop? The dogs are fighting. All right. Any other questions or recommendations you might have to make things clearer or easier? Going well? Okay, because I think those are the main things I wanted to make sure we were all clear on. Again, if you have questions, don't hesitate to ask. Now's your chance. Okay, I think I have everyone. Let me make sure I have everyone in too. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8, 9, 10. I have 10 of you. Yep, I have all 10 of you down. So you've completed your first Zoom session. Woohoo! Good job, you guys. So are you guys liking the course so far?
Yeah.
Yeah. Good. Any other questions, comments, concerns? Okay. All right. Well, I think then we'll end there for now. My daughter's eating pasta and making me very hungry. So I think I'm going to go grab dinner. But anytime you have a question, any concern, just feel free to shoot me an email. And Samuel, I'll follow up with you, Sally, and Shannon to make sure you're set to get some articles posted and that kind of stuff for next week. Okay?
Actually, I have one question.
Mm-hmm.
I was just going into that section on the discussions board, but it says it's locked. Will it?
Oh, yes. It will open on Monday.
Monday.
Would you like to open it sooner? I can do that.
Anytime's fine.
Okay. Let me go ahead and I'll open it up for you guys now so that if you find stuff and you want to start posting it, let me do that right quick. Gotta figure out the fastest and easiest way to do that. Okay, yeah, that was a good question. I kind of just let that because I don't want people to go in and looking for it if it wasn't there yet, but I can definitely open that now. And on the schedule, just make sure, since I opened up that board early, just make sure you watch the schedule. The articles won't be in there until Monday. And then the rest of them, if you want, like if your group is coming up next, you want me to open up the board sooner, just let me know. I can definitely do that. But now, can you refresh, Samuel, make sure it's unlocked now?
Yes, it worked.
Okay, perfect. All right. Excellent. Okay, guys. Well, thank you so much. I'm excited. This is the biggest group we've had. Trying some new things with you, but I think it'll be good. I'll also post a link to the VoiceThread tutorial. So in case you haven't used VoiceThread before, you'll know how to use it. I'll put that in the announcements page for you, and I'll send out an email that says it's there. So you can start to get familiar with VoiceThread and get any questions answered that you need. Okay? All right, guys. Well, have a great night. I will see you later. Bye.